Peace and blessings to all my beautiful friends out there. Thanks for joining me here on the channel. We are studying the lessons of A Course in Miracles, and today, I love this lesson, lesson 255, this day I choose to spend in perfect peace. And interestingly enough, if you're watching today, today is September 11th, 2024. And so when I read this day, I think it actually means like this day. Now, you may not be watching on September 11th, 2024, and that's okay, because whatever day it is for you this day, you can choose to spend that in perfect peace as well. So here we go. It does not seem to me that I can choose to have peace, but today, let me read that again. It does not seem to me that I can choose to have but peace today, and yet my God assures me that his Son is like himself. Let me this day have faith in him who says I am God's Son, and let the peace I choose be mine today bear witness to the truth of what he says. God's Son can have no cares and must remain forever in the peace of heaven. In his name, I give today to finding what my Father wills for me, accepting it as mine, and giving it to all my Father's sons along with me. And so, my Father, would I pass this day with you? Your Son has not forgotten you. The peace you gave him still is in his mind, and it is there I choose to spend today. This day I choose to spend in perfect peace. So I'd like to read Ken Wapnick's commentary and then get into a little bit of my own commentary. And I'm also going to read a section from the text, which Ken begins to highlight, but I want to read a little bit more of it. So here we go. Ken Wapnick says, "It does not seem as if I can be at peace today because it is threatened at every turn. The weather makes me unpeaceful, as does this person I live or work with, not to mention the body in which I reside. There are always special things that impinge on me, and it does not appear as if I have any choice about their deleterious effects on me. In these meditations, Jesus brings us back to the mind where the problem is. Thus, our day should be spent in realizing that what we feel comes from the mind's choice. And if we have chosen a feeling, it is because we want it." Ouch. Ugh. The text helps us to understand that we are insane enough to want to be upset and in pain in order to hold someone else responsible for our victimization and suffering. Oh boy, did he just explain a lot in that sentence. The outcome is that we maintain our separate identities, but without being responsible for them. And so we gladly choose not to be at peace. Without understanding this motivation, our decisions make no sense, especially when we spend years reading and studying A Course in Miracles and yet do not integrate its teachings into our lives. We seem not to progress in our learning because to accept that we are being taught would lead us to let go of ourself. All right, he goes on a little bit, but I'll stop there. So a lot of truth bombs coming in. And speaking of bombs, I'm going to talk about two things. Last night, September 10th, 2024, was the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Now, just to be fully transparent with all of you, I do have a preference, and that preference is Donald Trump. However, I am not going to vote because I don't want to participate in the system. And if that triggers you, please forgive me, and here goes your forgiveness practice, right? I watched that whole thing from start to finish as if I was watching a Netflix series. And I know it's because the Course in Miracles is like working on me and you know, taking away a lot of the fuzz and interference in my mind that used to block my peace. I used to want to take it personally, that whichever candidate that I wanted to win the debate, if that's even such a thing, if I felt like their performance wasn't perfect, I would have anxiety in the moment and then for the rest of the day, the next day. I felt nothing. I felt no additional stimulation. I was a little excited to watch it because it was like, oh, this is my Netflix show that I like to watch right now. but it didn't take my peace away. And I know for a fact that whatever happens on November 5th, it's not going to take my peace away. It's not going to take my peace away. I know that. My life is my choice. My state of emotions is my choice. And frankly, for the past 3.5 years, the person who my preference is running against has been part of the group that's running the country. And other than like paying more for groceries and more for gas, my personal life, I haven't really noticed the impact of whatever the politics, the economy, and all that stuff, and it's just in my awareness that changes may happen, but it's up to me to stay at peace no matter what. No matter what. Even if we go into this World War III scenario that was talked about in that wonderful Netflix series that I watched last night called The Debate, I can keep my peace. I know I can. Now, the other thing is, this is the anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks, right? I believe, after I watched a beautiful documentary and did lots of research on a website called, a group called Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, what you have is a group of firefighters who were seasoned firefighters fighting the fires in the Twin Towers that day, lawyers, structural architects, structural engineers, explosives experts, all coming together and weighing in on the story that the media told that day, way back in 2001, and how it's literally impossible that a blow from an airplane and that jet fuel could melt those buildings down and make them fall the way that they did. It's just, according to physics, if you want to believe in the 3D world, it's impossible. So I'm not saying it didn't happen. Yes, people died. Yes, it was a terrible day, but there is a group of people that are trying to spread the truth. And it doesn't mean that the lives are replaced or anything really happens to the loved ones and all the sort of like traumatic events, but at least there's people that are establishing, okay, this is what's possible, and what we saw was impossible. So let's just at least get the truth out there. And what they're advocating for is an actual criminal investigation to bring out the truth, how the evidence was handled, all the debris and all the whatever. There's a lot. If you check out that website, I'll link it below. So my point to that is, I made a Facebook post this morning where I just simply said there was no terrorist attack. It was planned to appear that way. Forgive the lies and do the research that is produced by the people that were actually there, that are experts, right? And so I connect that with, yes, I know that my mind obviously still has preferences in it, preferences and aversions. So even with the presidential candidate, there's one that I like more than the other one. When it comes to the 9/11 story, there's a story that I like better than the other one. But what that means for me with my spiritual practice is, when the opposite story, the thing that I'm aversion to, I have an aversion to, when that becomes the choice or the information of the day, my work is not to lose my peace, because I may have an opinion that's different from the prevailing narrative, and that's okay. I speak what I believe to be true, and perhaps encourage other people to consider, how do they feel about the things that have happened. It's all beautiful. It's all perfect. It can't happen unless our minds create it, which if it appears that there's duality, we're creating the duality because there's duality in our consciousness. There's duality in our minds. And it's beautiful to see all of this play out. I just saw 9/11 on the screen. So I'm going to wrap this up soon, but what it is, a little coincidence here. We're just talking about that. So whatever's going on, whether it's politics or world events or even individual, arguments or, relationships that you're having, look at yourself and know that your practice is actually going to change what you see and how you feel about what you see. Trust that. Everything that does happen is God's will. There's no reason for you to be upset about it. The other piece is, let's say the story that we know of Jesus is true in this illusory world that we're creating here, right? Let's say that there was this man Jesus way back 2,000 years ago. And what he did was he shared his opinion that the government is lying. The prevailing power brokers were trying to do bad things to people and lie to people and use their power in a way that was out of integrity with truth. And so he continued to share that message, which was the whole basis for, huge change in the world. If any of that is true, then I feel I take inspiration from that, in the sense that I'm sharing my opinion, and it doesn't matter to me how it's received. I don't mean to harm anyone with it, and I'm not attached to the outcome turning out in my preference. I know that I'm going to maintain my peace whatever happens. So if any of this video felt triggering for you, I would encourage you to deepen your forgiveness practice and look at why anything bothers you. So I want to close with reading this section. So Ken Wapnick actually lays out a quote from the text. It's chapter 19, section 4, part 1, sentences 6 through 7. So the chapter 19 is called The Attainment of Peace in the text. Excellent chapter. The section is Obstacles to Peace. And I'm just going to read a couple of the paragraphs instead of just that one sentence that he highlighted. So here we go. This is how we'll close today. Thanks for being here if you're still here. As peace extends from deep inside yourself to embrace all the sonship and give it rest, it will encounter many obstacles. Some of them you will try to impose. Others will seem to arise from elsewhere, from your brothers, and from various aspects of the world outside. Yet peace will gently cover them, extending past completely unencumbered. The extension of the Holy Spirit's purpose from your relationship to others to bring them gently in is the way in which He will bring means and goal in line. The peace He laid deep within your heart and your brother will quietly extend to every aspect of your life, surrounding you and your brother with glowing happiness and the calm awareness of complete protection. And you will carry its message of love and safety and freedom to everyone who draws nigh unto your temple, where healing waits for him. You will not wait to give him this, for you will call to him and he will answer you, recognizing in your call the call for God, and you will draw him in and give him rest as it was given you. I think that says it all. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Please keep your peace today. This day, I choose to remain in perfect peace. Let's do this together. I'll see you back here again on the next video. Have a wonderful day.